Welcome in, welcome in. Everybody pull you up a chair or seat or stand up if that's what you want to do. We're in the sewing room and we're going to dip our toe into garment construction. Something I've never done with you all. I learned to sew making clothes. So it's just second nature to me. So I've got this pattern. I got it off of Etsy. It's a Pattern Gardens pattern. It's for these it's called dungarees. It's just like a little jumpsuit, overall type thing, kind of cropped, wide leg, loose fit, so you don't really have to fit anything. It says it's a beginner level pattern. Okay, so those of you that have never made a garment of any kind, you want to make sure you do something with. If it says beginner level or easy or make today, wear tonight, there used to be some patterns like that. Something real simple. Straight lines, no gathers, preferably no sleeves. Easy peasy simple. So that's what this is. Easy peasy simple. And of course you have to print out your pattern, and then this comes on these kind of sheets and you're going to have to put it together. And this gives you this right here, and this is what your pattern should look like, and it gives you marks to line it up with. Okay, and you're going to get your tape, handy dandy Scotch tape right here, and you're going to line these up. Bring y'all over here, turn you down so you can see what I'm doing. All right, here we go. Right here, we're going to line this up. See this little dot right here? Going to line that up. And we're going to put a piece of tape on it. We'll come over here and we're going to line this up right there. Put a piece of tape on it. And put a piece of tape on it. Now this right here is just your guide to your pieces. So you have a front. Right here's your front. A back. A pocket. A strap, and a front and back facing. Okay, this goes across here for your facing. These are your patch pockets. These are your straps that sew in here, and they tie on the top. Easy peasy. No buttons, no zippers, no elastic waist, no waistband. Easy peasy pattern. All right. So, same thing with your big pieces. They come marked 1A, 1B. Here again, I have already trimmed that off. Line this up. And put you some tape. Okay? 1B goes to 1C. So we need to trim this right here. Okay? Use your paper scissors. And we're going to line this up right like that. All right, now it comes to here 2A. Same thing. You're just going to keep building this. So I'm going to turn you off fast speed, and I'm going to build our pattern, okay? So all right, I got all of our pieces taped together. Now I have a great big piece that looks just like this. Okay, so down here it tells you, or over here, It tells you right here. You're going to have to cut all these pieces apart too, y'all. But it's got what they call a legend, like for any kind of a map or whatever you learned in school. It's got that right there that tells you the different markings for the different sizes. And this comes from an extra small to a 4X. So it should fit just about anybody, okay? Unless you're a little girl or a really big person. So, and then in the instructions, it gives you, and I measured myself, and no, I'm not telling you my measurements. Right here, it shows you the sizes according to your measurements right here that you need. And the good thing about a pattern is, if you are bigger at the bottom and smaller at the top, you can make that work, especially if it's something like this that, you know, you can cut in the smaller size at the top and then angle it out to cut the larger size at the bottom, which is what I'm gonna have to do because I have a big booty. I always have my whole life. My mama always did. It's just something that we are either blessed or cursed with, depending on how you want to see that. So we've got hips, big hips. So I'm gonna lay that to the side because I really don't need it right now. But I do need to cut my pattern pieces out of my paper. And like I said, it's big. Big, big, big. So I'm going to first start by cutting out each piece, just like this right here. Just so then I can hold them, deal with them a little bit easier, okay? Because this is a long jumpsuit. And believe you me, it's long. You've got 5 pattern pieces, a front, a back, a front facing, the back does not have a facing, a strap, and a pocket. Okay, that's what we have here. All right, so this is the front right here. This is the front, and it's got on here where you place your pocket. All right, so I'm going to start, because I don't want mine this long. I know I don't. Because I'm a little short person. I am. And so I'm just going to whack this around like this. Just on this outer edge. Kind of get some of that bulk off of it. Okay. See, I'm just cutting the bulk off of it here. Cut down this way. This is the way I trim my patterns with the general rule. I don't cut them exactly twice. When I'm first cutting them out, I just get them where they're workable pieces in my hands. And that way I can it's easier to manipulate. Okay, this is just a simple, probably looks like a 2.5 to 3 inch strip. We're going to go over a lot of things in this particular this particular video that you need to know if you are a beginner sewer. Like I said, you see, I just kind of cut around that and left all the sizes, everything. Just cut around the outer edge to make this easier to handle and to work with. Just getting rid of some of the bulk. And I'm going to cut out our little legend here. Okay, now we've got our pieces of where they're a little more manageable. Okay, this is our bag, and it's got on here grain line. I hope y'all can see this. Try to zoom y'all in. I want y'all to see this. A lot of patterns have it a lot larger. You see this right here? Right here, it says grain line, and most patterns that I've seen have it great big and long down through here, and that is what they call the straight of the grain line. And here it shows you here grain line. I'm gonna zoom y'all back out. Grain line and on the fold. Okay, and a grain is simply the way the fabric was woven, and it generally the grain line runs parallel with your selvage edge. If you're cutting it on a diagonal, you're going to get some stretch, which you do not want. See how this will stretch diagonally? See that, how it stretches that way? But this way, it will not stretch. See, that way it doesn't stretch. But if I pull it over here, see how it stretches? All right, and you don't want that. You want it to go here, and especially if you're working with a stripe, you don't want your stripes to go, you know, wonky. You want them to go straight up and down. And if you're doing something for the first time, a stripe is a benefit to you if it is an up and down stripe, because the stripes go with the straight of the grain. And if you have a really long straight grain line, you can lay it right on a stripe. Okay, so that's a benefit if you're sewing for the very first time. Here again, you've got a grain line marking on this piece. You've got it on all of your pieces. Okay, there is one trick that I will tell you. Most woven fabrics, I guess all woven fabrics, have a straight of the grain that runs parallel with the selvage, but you also have running perpendicular at a 45-degree angle or 90-degree angle. At a 90-degree angle, 45 makes you bias. 90 degrees makes you another straight of the grain. So let's say our pockets here. This is the way you should, here's our grain line. This is the way you should lay this on here. But let's say we want to mix it up. We can turn it exactly 90 degrees and run it this way. And our pockets then will go the opposite direction from our pants. Okay, that's just a little bit of info there in case you're interested. Now then, this is a pattern that you can also make long or short. It doesn't tell you that, but basically if you want to make it short, you just cut it off at whatever height down you want it to be. Okay, and I'm going to cut mine off a little bit because I am short and I do not need it to be quite this long. So I'm probably going to cut mine off right here are right up in here, and then you can put a pretty good size hem in it, because I like a larger hem, because that way it gives it the weight, it holds it down, it doesn't fly up, and you know, if you put like a 2-inch hem in it, then you top stitch around that, and it really holds it real well. Okay. All right, enough about our pattern. Now then, we've got to cut it out. So to do that, I'm going to lay all these pieces right over here. I'm going to lay our fabric out here. And this called for 3 yards. And y'all, this is just a red and white striped ticking fabric. That's what it's called, ticking. And they used to make old bed pillows and stuff out of ticking. And it's generally blue for the most part, but it does come in red and black, and I think just plain solid beige. They used to make feather beds out of it back in the day, way back when, long time ago. That's what they did. And it's called for 3 yards, so that's what I got. It called for a little less than 3 yards, but I went ahead and bought the 3 yards because, you know, we like our scraps. We like our scraps. Okay, and you just want to lay it out here even. It is double folded, so when you lay a pattern piece on it, you are going to cut too. Okay, here we go. I'm going to lay this on here, right like this. And when I do that, I will cut 2 pieces, and they will be mirrored opposites, okay? So, like this is the center front, okay? Down through here. You see that? The center front, from here to here. So that when I put these pretty sides to pretty sides and sew this center front seam, I've got 2 sides. You do not want to open your fabric up to cut this. You want to leave it folded, okay? Because that's the way you want your piece to be. All right. So now then, we're going to get us the pins. I've got them all stuck in one pin cushion now, you all. And we're going to pin this pattern piece on. You can use pattern weights if you have some. Just whatever floats your boat. I like to pin mine if I can. I have seen people Scotch tape it down. You can do whatever. And if you are cutting it out and you are between sizes, go with the larger size. Because you can always take it up and cut the fabric out of it, but it's really, really difficult to add that fabric back in and sew it back on. All right? It's much easier to just I got enough of this. Barely. I guess I do. Didn't seem like I did. I guess I do. I guess I do. And always, if you can, leave your folded side to where it is not as, you don't want to push this all the way over there, because then you have these 2 pieces here, where here you've got 1 piece left, and if you've got that 1 piece, you might be able to use it for something. Whereas if you've got the 2 pieces, you know, you just have a larger piece of scrap left that way, if that makes sense. Because we don't want to waste our fabric. Fabric is too expensive right now to waste. All right, here we go. Now then, I'll let that right there hang off. Pull this up like this. Got those 3 pieces I'll add in here in just a minute. You always want to start by laying your larger pieces down first, okay? The larger pieces need to go down first. And you also want to make sure that the tops always go the same direction, especially if you're working with a one-way design or a napped fabric. You don't want to lay these feet sides together. You want to make sure they're head to foot, because, trust me, don't ask me how I know, but if you're working with a corduroy fabric in the fall and winter, and we like corduroys in the fall and winter, you will have a mess. It will be two different colors. Your front and your back will not be the same color. Ask me how I know that. I made a dress one time, and that's what happened to me. I wore that dress anyway because I loved it, but it was two different colors. So you don't want to do that. I make the mistakes so you don't have to. And I try to tell you all everything you need to know. All right, now here's this. Now then, we're going to go back and we're going to cut these pieces up here. Here's our pocket. And our pocket, I'm going to turn it this way just simply because I barely have enough fabric here to cut that. There might be enough up here to cut it. Let's try that. I bet there is enough right up here to cut this pocket. If I turn it scoot it all the way over, possibly. I will wait to cut that pocket because I'm going to show y'all how to do it to save the most of your fabric. Okay? Now this and this. Here we go. You see, I'm just rolling it back up. All right, this piece goes on the fold. It says cut one front facing on the fold. So for this, you need to cut this right here off where it says to put it on the fold. Okay, that piece right there needs to be cut off. And then you want to lay it as close to the top edge as you can because we're trying to save our fabric. And we're going to pin that on just like that. But you want this to be where your fabric is folded. Okay? Now then, for our straps, I think we need to cut 4. Makes sense, doesn't it? We need 4 straps. So we're going to cut 2 right here. And then after we're finished, we'll slide it down and we will cut 2 more. All right. All right, now then we're going to get out our fabric scissors. Y'all, I've got new ones. I'm going to use my new Pinkin shears. These are Guggenheim Pinkin shears. And I'm going to use that to cut this out with, okay? And you want to cut along whatever size you needed, okay? Here's our sizes. You need to find the size that you needed and find that line, and that will be on our markings here on the pattern. This all matches, okay? You want to find whatever your size is, cut on that line, okay? All right, I'm going to fast speed y'all up and cut these 2 pieces out. Okay, bring y'all over here a little bit now so you can see down here a little bit closer. Y'all getting hot on me. Now you see what I've got? This is a fold. This is along the fold right here. So in order to make my pockets and not have to cut part of my little bit of yardage that was left on the end. And see, I can't really get two here and two here. I'm going to show you all a trick. I need to cut two of these, okay? And yes, I'm trimming this pattern out completely. I've got a mess in my floor because I've just thrown stuff in the floor. See, I need two. I could cut it right here. Then I've got this piece left, which is what I think I'll do. I'll just cut them right here. And this was on part of what was, unless that piece is not big enough. And I want to make them go the same way, just for ease of simplicity, so you all understand the straight of the grain. It's the reason I chose a striped fabric for this, okay? Because I want y'all to get this. I want y'all to be able to make your own clothes. These things cut fabric like butter. I love them. Came up on my Facebook thing. Everybody was raving about them, and I thought, you know what? I need some new ones. We're going to give them a try. No, I've not had pinking shears. I've never had pinking shears like this. And they're good. They're heavy. They're metal. They're love them. These little pieces can go in that little tiny scrap bag. All right, there's that. Here's our piece we cut on the fold, just one. There's our fold. We do not cut that fold piece. You leave that, okay? Lay it on the fold and you cut it on the fold and you leave it folded. So we've got all these nice pieces here that can go into a quilt or a little stuffed toy or lots of things. All right, now then, here is our strap. We've got two of them. And we need four of them. So, I'm going to cut two more. Right here. Okay. And no, I did not cut all the way down the sides of this. And I am going to go ahead and trim this pattern off because the cut's easier with my pinking shears. They don't like to cut paper, and I shouldn't be cutting paper with them because they're fabric scissors. Alright, now then, and I find if I'm cutting something like this, it's easier to hold it up like this and cut it. Alright, there are those two pieces. Can go in there. This can be folded up with some of our other pieces. Okay. Alright, now we've got all of our pieces cut out. Now you know what we need to do. We need to sew it together real quick, and it won't take long because there's not that many pieces, so there's not that many seams. Okay, so I'm gonna meet y'all over here at the machine, and we're gonna sew this baby together, and we might get to wear it tomorrow night. We're going to take Andy to a baseball game tomorrow night, y'all. He looks forward to this every year so much. No, it's not Cincinnati, it's local River Riders. But I made video while we're there so y'all can just see how happy he is. He absolutely loves baseball. And I don't know, I'm going to tell y'all a story. It's story time with Mama tonight, or today. When he was little, we watched, while I was pregnant, I've always loved baseball. My whole life I've loved baseball. My grandfather took us to baseball games, local baseball games. We had Appalachian League Baseball here in town, and it was Major League affiliates, and we were the affiliate of the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals. We had Johnson City Cardinals, we had Elizabethton Twins, Danville Braves, and they changed throughout the years, but we had Kingsport Mets, Bristol Pirates, and the Bristol White Sox at times. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to try to make a long story short. I grew up going to these baseball games, loved baseball. Every Sunday afternoon, we ate dinner at my granny's, and she had TBS. We could watch the Braves. Grew up a Braves fan and a Cincinnati fan because I loved the Big Red Machine. Johnny Bench was my absolute favorite player, still is. We share a birthday. I say he's my soulmate. I played catcher when I played softball back in the day. I just loved Johnny Bench. He was my favorite and still is. So I grew up with the Braves and the Big Red Machine, and so all things baseball. Fast forward, find my mister. We share the love of baseball. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was with my mother, and we were looking for cribs and things, and I didn't know if I was having a boy or a girl, and I saw this little white bear, and he had on a little baseball hat and a little glove and a little ball and a little bat in his hand. It was one of those things you could tie on the crib, they could pull down, and it wiggled back up. And it played Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Well, I had to have it. And Mother said, well, you don't know if you're having a boy or a girl. I said, Mama, little girls can love baseball too. I'm buying this. I just love it. I never did ever see another one, and it's the only one that they had. They had others that were just like that, but they did not play Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I bought it, tied it to his crib. The rest is history. He loves baseball. And we watched the summer that I was pregnant with him. We watched Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire in that big home run race that they did. Oh, it was great. Couldn't wait to watch a baseball at night. And so, needless to say, he's my baseball kid. Loves it. Doesn't matter if it's Little League or the majors. He loves it. We take him every year. We usually go to Elizabethton River Riders. All the staff over there seems to know him. And, it's just like home for us. So, there you go. Story time with Mama. Now let's get our jumpsuit made so we might be able to wear it tomorrow night to the game, okay? Okay, are y'all ready? I'm ready. I'm ready. Got the iron on because we have to press our seams. We do. All right, and to make garments, you want to use a 5/8 inch seam or 1/2 inch seam, which is 4/8. You can fudge a little bit, but matter of fact, I don't know of any garment sewing patterns that use less than a 5/8 inch seam. Okay, so we want to use a 5/8 inch seam, and that tells you here, it says 5/8 or 1.5 centimeter seam allowance is included. So that's included in this, okay? So it says, let's start. Step 1, it says print measure. We've done all that. We're going to take care of our front panels first, it says, okay? And that's to step 3. It says if you have a serger to serge your panels, I have one, I do, but I use pinking shears on this. That's what I'm going to use for this. I think it'll be fine. If I decide later that I want my seams on the inside serged, I'll come in here, fold it pretty side to pretty side, and serge down through there. It's no big deal. But for the ease of this, and the fact I can set you all over here at this machine, the serger is sitting over on the other side of the table. I don't want to go back and forth. We're going to use just our regular machine because a lot of you do not have a serger. So I'm trying to do with what you could do it with, okay? So you don't have to have all of these fancy schmancy tools to make your own clothes. I started with just a simple sewing machine. Didn't have a serger, no embroidery, nothing, just a sewing machine. And I made wardrobe after wardrobe after wardrobe, literally. And my daughter didn't have a serger when she was little. I made French seams on everything. I showed you how to do that. And what did we make that we made French seams? I don't even remember, but we made French seams. In our tote bag, That's right. In our tote bag, I heard you all say, in the tote bag. Yes, in the tote bag, we made French seams. You can do that with this. But I'm following these directions to show you step by step by step how to follow this pattern right here. Okay? So, it says, there's our two big pieces. We've got to get our pockets ready. All right? Our pockets. Here is our pocket. Okay? And this says the bottom. I don't think it really matters because it's just a rectangle, right? Gotta get my pin cushion. Got all the pin cushions over on the other side. So y'all hang on. Now I'm gonna change your battery because you're about to die on me. So I'm gonna turn you off, get a pin cushion, change your battery so y'all are ready to go and good to go till we get this done. Okay, here's our pocket. Like I said, I don't really think it matters because it's a rectangle. But it tells you. All right, fold the top edge and top stitch. Fold edges and press. All right, let's take care of the front panels first. We need to start with pockets. Fold pockets. Side and bottom edges 5/8 of an inch and press. Okay, we're going to set them to the wrong side. We're going to hem this basically 5/8 of an inch all the way around. We're going to press that with our iron 5/8 of an inch or they're close by. I've got a seam gauge right here. Hem gauge, seam gauge, whatever you want to call it. And it's right here. So you can measure right here. 5/8 of an inch. Okay. Right like that. Alright, I'm going to measure all the way around. Press these 5/8 of an inch to the inside. And then I'll be back. Okay, I pressed them in all the way around, 5/8 of an inch. I went top down, bottom up, and then my sides in. You don't want to go here, 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 and here. You want your seams, your sides to all match, okay? Now then, we're going to fold the top in 1 inch, okay? 1 inch down. The top pocket, right? 1 inch. 1 inch. Okay, measure that. It does not seem like an inch to me. That is an inch. Yes, that is an inch right there. Alright, press that down. There are our little pockets. They're ready to go on. So now, our pocket pattern, we're going to fold it up. Bring it back here, because that way we'll keep it, because we do like this pattern and want to make more. Yes. Yes, yes. Might make it out of corduroy or something like that for fall. That'd not be cute to wear this fall. Absolutely. Yes. Okay, back to our project at hand. Lay front leg flat. Let's see if we can find the front. Just the front and just the back. This is the front right here. Right here is the front. Y'all back over here just a little bit. Kind of see right here. See, here's our front, and here's where our pocket goes. Right here's where our pocket goes. And I'm going to mark it just like this, okay? That all the way through with the pen, all the way through, all the way through, okay? And down here at the bottom. Now then, this is where I pull this up. Okay, let's take all these pins off of this. Leave those. You want to take all these from the outside edge. Okay, that's all of them. I just had 3 more. Alright. Actually, I think I'll measure that because that paper is so heavy. I'm going to measure this right here so I'll know how far in from the outside edge. It's 3 inches. This is 4 inches. Alright, make sure we come in here. I'm going to get me a piece of chalk right here. We'll go with a piece of blue so it'll show up good on this. And I'm going to come in here. And from that right there, I'm going to measure over 3 inches. Put me a little line right there. Okay? And you can see you're going to want it to come straight down. Okay? That's all you need. Now then, we'll do the same over here. We'll measure it. Actually, let's mark this right there so that we know exactly where to put it. Because after all, alright. Here are our pockets. They go on here right like this. And these pockets are just about going to disappear. You could use a contrasting fabric. You could do, any number of things. You sure could. There's an ant up here on my sewing table. Oh, an ant. I need to stitch this across here first, I think, for that pocket. Does it tell you to do that? Yes, it does. I did not do that. Okay. Here's the other pocket. I lost a pocket. There's one pocket. Here's the other pocket. All right. Now then, go back around here just a little bit. Straight stitch your pocket right here on this edge, right here. Top stitch it. That way it holds that down. All right. Okay, now we'll put our pockets on. Now we can get our pocket on here. Right here. My pockets are not as long as this though. I don't know. Oh, they're not. I did exactly like the pattern said. But that's fine, they're completely big enough. These are what they call patch pockets because it's just like sewing a patch on. Okay. There's one pocket. Yeah, these are really long. I'm going to be cutting a lot off at the bottom of these, but that's okay. That's just, where's my markings? Up here it is. Okay. Okie dokie. And we're going to top stitch this on, okay? This is supposed to fit loose. It tells you that it's supposed to be loose. Thought it would be cool. Alright, now then, I'm sure that's what it's going to tell us to do. Alright, so... devil was I supposed to cut an extra one of these? Let me read this pattern piece. It says cut 2. With right side facing up, place pocket on top so right side of fabric are facing each other. Pocket's bottom edge should be aligned with bottom marking on the pant. Unfold edges of the pocket and straight stitch the bottom of the pant leg. I'm not doing that. That's difficult. That's very difficult. Okay? There's no need for that. Because they're wanting you to take this pocket, unfold it, lay it here, and stitch it here. Then flip it up, and then stitch it. There's no need in that. Put it on here and stitch all the way around. Okay? Easy peasy. We like easy. We don't want to make things more difficult, and that is more difficult. Alright? So we're just going to do this. You want to backstitch a couple of times when you start and you stop at the top edge of the pocket. Okay? That way, right up here. Top, it's hard for y'all to see this, I know. Right here, you want to go across this 2 or 3 times because if you put your hands in your pockets, you're going to put a lot of stress on that. You want to make sure that it's held in place again, okay? So you just want to do this 2 or 3 times. And you come down through here. Stop. And pivot. I do not understand what that's telling me to do. Okay? That's no point. That's all you needed to do, right there. Lay it down and stitch around it. Easy peasy. That sew and flip and turn, no need. No need at all. We like easy peasy. We don't want to make things more difficult. That makes things more difficult. too well. Snip that. Trim all of your little threads. You don't want to leave threads hanging. Okay, now there you go. That was easy peasy, right? Alright, next step. That was step number 4. Step number 5 says you have to fold in the side edges of the pockets and flip it up and stitch. Easy peasy. Lay them on there, stitch around them, and you're good to go. Place one front leg on top of another front leg. Right sides facing, so the center front seam. Okay? Our fronts. Here we go. Front. Front. Like this. Pretty sides together. Right, like so. Pretty side to pretty side. Now then, our front center seam is the top here. It's not down the leg. Do not sew the leg seam. Just the inner front seam right here. This right here is all that we need to sew. Alright? Just this. Alright, just the curved part, not the straight part. Put some clips on it to hold it in place. And you stitch with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay? And these should fit together perfectly because you cut them at the same time. Okay? So just the rounded edge. Can y'all see this? Scoot up this way so you can see. Just this part. Right here. Just this part. Do not sew the legs. Do not sew the legs, just this. Okay, just this right here. That's all you want to sew. 5/8 of an inch, three sides together. And you, on your machine, you should have a guide that shows you where 5/8 of an inch is. We're going to press that seam, we're going to press it open. So here's the front now. This is the front. See? Now see how that's going to fit now. And mine goes all the way to the floor. I've got plenty to hem up. Okay? Alright, now then, press that seam open. All of the seams when you're doing garment construction need to be pressed open. Unless you're using a serger to serge your seams. Alright, now then, the next step, Take one pair of your shoulder straps, wherever they may be, wherever they may be. Right here they are. One pair of our shoulder straps. That's 2 pieces of our 4. Is that right? We need to cut 4. Do we need to cut 8? It says cut 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it may be. And these we turn in and hem. Is that the way they want you to make these? Alright, and it says transfer markings. That's these markings right down here. Right here, you've got little lines, 2 there and 1 there. You need to move those markings. I don't know that that's really necessary, but we're going to do it. And that way we know where our pieces are supposed to go, okay? It says here to turn these in 5/8 of an inch and top stitching. Okay, I myself would not do that. I would have cut 8 of these. Actually, I need to trim that down. I would have cut 8 of these. And turned it. But since we are following the pattern, we will do what the pattern says, okay? So that says, these are the bottoms right here, one in the larger end and the one with the markings. That's what sews to your actual pants, okay? You turn this in 5/8 of an inch. And matter of fact, I'm going to turn it in about 1/4 and then another 1/4, just so that it doesn't have a raw edge, because you tie these and I really don't want that raw edge to show. It might be kind of cute. Alright, we'll do what it says, 5/8 of an inch, turn it in, press it, and top stitch it. Do the 2 long sides, and then do this top piece up here, the shorter, the smaller of the 2 ends, okay? And I'm going to do all 4 of these at one time, because I'm sure that's what we're going to have to do, okay? So I'm going to press them all, 5/8 of an inch in, both long sides, and top stitching. The tops, turn it in, press it, and top stitch it, okay? Alright, here are our straps. I think you should have 2 straps, and they should mirror each other, which I really don't think there's much difference in them. They should have a slight angle at the top, but I do not, and I think it's fine. I don't think it really matters that it shows here that they're supposed to be angled. Whatever. Alright. Place the front. There's our front. Right side up. Alright. Place our front facing. That's the piece that we cut on the fold. Place front facing on top of front construction. That's this right here. Just like this. It mine's a little bit bigger, but that's okay. So side seams, only insert straps between. We're going to sew here and here, right down through here. Okay? Is that right? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Pretty side to pretty side to pretty side, okay? I'm going to lay this right here. Bring it in. Right like that. I'm going to bring this in a little more than 5/8 of an inch to the inside of this outer edge, okay? Bring it in a little more than 5/8 of an inch because you've got to put a seam right up here, pivot, and come across here, okay? So you want to bring it in a little more than 5/8 of an inch. Because you do not want to sew that, because if you do, it won't turn, and you'll have to take it out, and then you'll cry, and I'll cry, and everybody will be just a cry mess. Okay, seam open. Center seam needs to be pressed open. All this, we're going to sew 5/8 of an inch up this way, pivot, across the top, pivot, and down to here. You just need to come to the edge right here, to these edges, okay? They just had you sewing this outer seam first, then put this in so that it could butt up against it. I cut that part out and just cut it down. You want to cut this, put this seam right here so that the corner will turn pretty. I don't know if it tells you to do that or not, but I'm telling you to do that. Alright, let's see if it tells you to do that. It does not tell you to do that, but I told you to do that. Does it tell you to turn your right side out? But I'm going to do that, and we're going to turn this. Because that is the way that that needs to go. So just like that. It might have been just a little bit. But you know what? It's nicer than sewing 3 seams just to sew one. So, not that easy, right? Vagina thing here. Use your scissors, you'll poke a hole in it, and then you're going to cry. Alright. Here's how that goes. Okay? I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to press it. Okay, now it's time to do the back. Where I went ahead and hemmed all my straps, I wasn't supposed to do that, so I had to rip it out. But I'll just rip the back part of this because this, you sew this on and then this all becomes one hemmed edge, which is fine. I'll just rip a little bit of it back off there and it'll be fine. No worries. No worries at all. Okay, there's another pin. All my pins out. Alright, now then. It says right sides together, out. We lay these like this, and it should go all the way across here. Do you see that? That matches all the way across on both sides. Okay? So we need to do this, and we need to sew this with a 5/8 of an inch seam. Alright? All the way across. Just like this. Both of them. Back stitching when you start and when you stop. Alrighty, now the other side. Alright, the center back edge, okay, not the back seam, but the back edge. It comes down to this point right here. We're going to turn that in, press this open, turn this in, 5/8 of an inch. Press it and top stitch it, okay? That's what it says to do. Alright, so we're going to turn this in on the inside edge, pressing this open, right like this, all the way in, and we're going to top stitch this on both of those, just to this deep point right here, okay? Okay, now then, those are sewn. See, right here. Now then, we lay these pieces, pretty sides together, and we're going to sew this crotch seam right here, just the curved edge. Do not sew the legs, just the curve. Come to the center right there, just doing this curving. By doing this, that gives you a very pretty V point in the back, okay? We'll get a couple of 3 clips on here, and then we're going to sew this with the 5/8 of an inch seam. Easy peasy. There's our back. See how pretty that V is? See how pretty the V turned out? It's a nice, real pretty V. See that? Alright, we'll press this seam to open. All your seams are getting pressed to open. Alright, now then, step 11. That's what we just did. Step 12. Oh, we're just about finished, you all. Just about finished. Just about finished. So front and back at the side seams and inseam with right sides facing. Alright, here's our back. See that? Here's our front. Pretty sides to pretty side. Okay? Here is our side seams. That's this right here. Side of the leg. All the way down. Right here. So, both the V's. 5/8 of an inch seam. Right like this. See that? Do the other side. The inseam is your center crotch seam. Okay? Inseam is the center of your pants, shorts, whatever. Now then, here is our crotch seam. To do that, you want to make sure these are both open. You want to match this center seam right here. Just like that. Stick to a couple of clips right there. Make sure that seams both stay open, or you can pin them. And match these all the way down. So we've got 3 seams to sew. Okay, 3 seams. 2 outside and 1 inside leg seam. Let's get to sewing. I'm going to sew this with a 5/8 of an inch seam. All I need is just come on through. Five-eighths of an inch seam. Now then, we have to turn this in. Down through here. All the way around. Press this open. Turn that back in. And we're going to hem that. Okay? We're just going to hem around here. This outer edge. Both sides. Press it in 5/8 of an inch and then stitch it. Okay, we've got like one more step to do. 2 more steps. When I sewed up the sides, I also stitched across the top right here. I need to stitch across this bottom of this facing right here. Okay, just top stitch across that. And then we have to hem them whatever length we want them to be. And that's all we have to do. Okay? So I'm going to stitch this real quick. There's that. So that's stitched down and it's held in place and it won't roll and all that good stuff. Now then, we need to hem these up. And to do that, we're going to have to cut them off. I've got to decide exactly where I want them. So I'm going to stand up and measure my inseam as best I can. Cut them at about, I want them to be about 20 inches, okay? And that's from the center. We measure about 20 inches because I want them to be short. Like I said, I want a heavy, and that'll be about right by the time I turn that up. That's 5. Turn it up 2.5 and 2.5. Is that right? Let's draw us a line on here. Put y'all back here. And we'll work right over here. We've got a cutting mat and everything right here that we can work on. Alright, we're going to put our leg seams together. Like this. Just like that. Actually, I'm going to get the glue up because it's a little sturdier. Okay? So right now, let's see if I can move this just a tiny little bit more. Alright, I think we've got enough room here. Y'all can see good. Alright, we are going to find us a straight line there. Alright, we want them to be 20 inches. So we need to come in right there. Right there's where we want them to be. So here we've got 5 inches. We need to turn up 2.5 and then 2.5. So actually I really don't want to turn that much up. So I'm going to cut off an inch. I just want a 2-inch hem. I want to get it straight, and we're going to take our rotary cutter and we're going to cut this off right like this. It doesn't need to be pinked because I'm going to turn them up twice. 2 inches and turn that 2 inches 2 more inches. Okay. 2 inches and 2 inches. Y'all ready? I'm going to press it 2 inches and press. And then, no, I want them to be right there. All right, 2 inches. And then 2 inches. Yes, that's right. Y'all have to stop and think sometimes. I do. So I'm going to mark this off 2 inches right here. Just like that. on all of my sides, all 4 pieces, just like that. Now then, we are ready to hem these babies up, and then they're finished. And then if they're too big, we can take them up. And I think they're going to be a little bit big. So I'll be taking them up just a little bit. All right, now then, we'll take this over there and I'm going to press it right there on that line. Just like that. Press it up. All the way around on that line. That 2-inch line. See that? Turn it up just like that. And then we're going to turn it one more time. Just like that. Alright, I'm going to press it and then I'm going to top stitch it. And then we've got them hemmed. Alright, y'all, I got them all fixed and put them on the mannequin. Can y'all see that? Trying to back up enough so you all can see it. Can't hardly get y'all backed up far enough. If I set you on the floor. Maybe you can see it now. I'll come over here and talk to you. Y'all can see what they're going to look like on. I'll stick my head up here. How's that? Because I put them on the mannequin. I probably ought to put a t-shirt on with it. Let me grab a t-shirt. I think I've got one. Here's a cute little red t-shirt. We'll put this t-shirt on. Now you can really get a feel for what they're going to look like when you get your shirt on and so forth. And I should be taller, but you know. And I may still end up having to hem them just a little bit. But that's what it looks like. They're kind of big and baggy. But that's what they're supposed to be. And I think they're cute as they can be. Just adorable. Absolutely adorable. Do we want to put some cherries on the pockets made out of yo-yos? Maybe we do. You don't know. You could do anything with it. You could put you another big pocket up here. If you want to, just sew it on just like I did this. Find your center, because you've got a seam right here. Easy peasy. Put you another pocket on it. And then put you some yo-yos and some things on it. It'd be cute. You can decorate the back. Not really. It doesn't have much of a back. It's just kind of plain and simple. If you want them shorts, then just cut them off and make them shorter. If you want to wear them shorts, just make them shorts. That's all you have to do. So, I'm going to leave y'all standing up for this one. So, there it was, one afternoon. Quick, easy, simple, very beginner friendly project for you to make and wear. Alright, this is just our dipping our toe into a little bit of garment construction. We'll do more garment construction if you all like this. Like I said, I started out sewing garments. That's what I learned to sew. Doll clothes, and then my clothes, and then my daughter's clothes, and then on. And it was years. I was grown and had been sewing for years and years and years before I ever even thought about making a quilt. I just made clothes because I wanted something that was almost immediate gratification. It was finished. I could wear it. I didn't want to have to, you know, do all that other stuff. So, like I said, I wanted immediate gratification with stuff. And so that's kind of what you get when you're sewing your clothes. You get more or less immediate gratification. And I've made wedding gowns, I've made bridesmaids dresses, I've made flower girl dresses, I've made, you name it, I've made it if it's a garment. You know, I've made it all at some point in time, probably. But we're going to make some pajama pants. I've got some real nice cotton gauze fabric for summer pajama pants. We're going to make some of those. I've got a little simple dress. We'll learn how to make a lined dress. Easy peasy. Don't cry, don't fret. Easy peasy. Beginner friendly sewing garments. That's where we're going to start. This is very beginner friendly. The pattern can be a little confusing, just a little bit, but this is the pattern that I used right here. It's women's dungarees. I can screenshot this or whatever so you can see it. But it's by Pattern Gardens, and I bought it off of Etsy. It says loose fit. That way you don't have to worry about it fitting exact, because it fits loose, and it's beginner level. Okay, that's what you want to look for. If you've never made a garment, you want to look for a beginner level pattern. Okay, and I tend to go that way unless I know that I'm, and then a lot of times I'll take a beginner level pattern and then I add to it, I embellish it, and then I go, I could add a ruffle right there, or I could do this, or I could do that. And that's how you start designing clothes. That's your intro into clothes designing. Start beginner level, learn how things go together, and then ideas are limitless. You can do whatever your little heart desires, whatever you can dream up, you can create. Okay, I do like my dress form. Came off of Amazon. I think it's in my Etsy shop. You can adjust it to whoever you're making something for, and you can get it to fit. But we'll get into this part of it later. Long time down the road. Right now we're making things that fit loose, that don't have to fit tight, that we're not concerned about if it fits here. We're not worried with darts. We're not worried with all that kind of stuff just yet. This is beginners. Okay? I want y'all to make it, wear it, enjoy it, and go, I did this, I can do it again. And then as time progresses and you get more accomplished, we'll go down the road of making some intermediate and then advanced. Okay? But that's going to be all for this one. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know if you like this kind of video. I'll do a lot more clothes if that's what you all want to see. But for now, I think I'm going to go outside and enjoy the sunshine just a little bit. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.